Hi! Now we're going to be working with the glazing method, which is one of my very favorite ways to paint. It's a slow process, and so you have a few weeks on this project. This is one in which we layer multiple layers of translucent paint on top of each other to come up with the ultimate color, which I'll be showing you in a demonstration video that is actually a separate video than this because that demo is pretty long. So I separated them into two videos, okay? But that is available for you to watch today as well. Okay, so I want to show you a reminder of some of the glazing method images we saw in the intro and show you some extras as well and talk about them. So here is a Caravaggio painting. Please note the really strong chiaroscuro lighting situation. So very intense value shifts from light to dark. Again, similar here with the Leonardo. This is a Dutch still life. I'm not sure who painted this. I'm not sure if it's been attributed, but you can see that it has very similar kind of value shifts to the paintings of the people. Velázquez, Las Meninas. Note the degree of realism that's possible with this. Here is another Caravaggio. Also note the extreme crispness of it. This is Delacroix, Liberty Leading the People. It's a piece about the French Revolution. Here's another piece about the French Revolution by Jacques-Louis David. So his last name is David or David. And this is the death of Marat. And Marat was a figure during the French Revolution who was part of the revolutionary fighters and a person who was pro-monarchist. Asked if she could have a meeting with him, and everything that he did, basically, he had an office set up in the bathroom. He stayed in the tub all the time because he had a skin condition, and so he had a board laid across the tub at all times, so he could be in there, corresponding with people. And she came in and assassinated him with a knife, and so she tricked him. And this is a historical painting of that. This is a Rembrandt painting, and it's a scene from the Old Testament, and I can't exactly remember what's going on here, but you can see someone's having a vision. A number of people are having a vision, and again, this is a dramatic scene. Hopefully you've noticed that most of these have been dramatic, and it makes sense to have a dramatic scene with dramatic lighting, and that kind of intense light to dark jump is certainly dramatic, reminiscent of stage lighting, right? Here's one that's a bit less dramatic. It is by Van Eyck. It's a wedding portrait. I'm sure you've seen it in art history class, painted in the glazing method. Okay, so everything I've shown you up to this point has been painted hundreds of years ago. Do people still use this painting method at all, or is it obsolete? Yeah, people still do. Here's a couple. Here are a couple of paintings by me that incorporate it, but most people don't. A lot of people nowadays use it when when it makes sense, but not in necessarily the traditional manners. And so, for instance, you could see the piece on the left, which is very badly photographed. I have to get it rephotographed once quarantine is over, and you can see that I use the glazing method in the butterflies and the box that they're in and the orchid, but I did not use it for the rectangles because it was a lot easier just to paint the rectangles on top alla prima at the end, right? So, and the one on the right, I did the glazing method almost entirely. There are little places where there's a tiny bit of alla prima because I needed more of a pastel chrome-like color that you can't get with translucent pigments, but I just did that at the very end in a few spots that required it. So, for instance, in the little leaves, sorry, it jumps forward. Also, a lot of artists use a combination of alla prima bases with glazing method on top nowadays. And so here's an example of an artist who does that, Kehinde Wiley, and he uses this method partly because he is making a statement about the fact that, you know, a lot of Black people have been left out of art history, and so he's using an art historical technique and a European art historical technique, and also poses from from Renaissance and Baroque paintings to create these. But he also uses it because it comes up with this very highly realistic finish. And so here is another example of Kehinde Wiley's piece artwork in which you can see the scale. His pieces are huge. This particular painting is based on the painting of Napoleon crossing the Alps. If you're interested in doing this kind of combination with olive prima as the base and the glazing method as the top layers, then just hang tight, because our next project after the current one is entirely glazing method, so you're going to do what I do in the demonstration, which is coming up next. But the project after that will be this combination, and I have a demo for that one as well when the time comes. But for this time, please just use the glazing method. You're not going to be using any white except for maybe a tiny bit at the end to correct anything, or if you need to make a pastel color. You will see what I'm talking about when you watch the demonstration video, so please do watch that demonstration video now. Please take notes on it. It's very complicated. You might want to watch it a couple times before you actually go about doing your homework assignment. And this homework assignment is going to take multiple days because you have to let things dry in between. So you might want to pause the video, start it up again. The first time watch it all the way through, but then when you're doing each step, you might want to just watch it in stages again. Okay? Let me know if you have any questions.